Well, you know, what jazz players do is they kind of look at the history and see where they fit in, try to learn from your predecessors. And so, you know, if you're a sax player, you look back and you see all these titans. And if you're a cello player, there's not that much. You know, there's Ron Carter, there's Oscar Pettiford, there's Fred Katz, there's Abdul Wadud. But Pettiford was the furthest back, although I always get into an argument with Babison's son, Von Babison. Harry Babison was probably the first guy to play cello in a jazz situation. But I feel like Pettiford is the first guy who was a composer, a really good composer, put himself in the center of a band and led a band from behind the cello. So yeah, for me, he's a huge inspiration. And I just recorded a new record of his music, and it's going to be out next year. Yeah, so it's pretty. There's not too many people that we can look back on as a cello player. So it's nice to have these gems. Well, you know, I learned a lot about Pettiford. I mean, he was a kind of a troubled guy. He had a little bit of a drinking issue, and he was in some sort of pain, and he was a little bit bitter about how the jazz scene treated him, and he split and went to Europe, you know, and later in life, just before he died, as a matter of fact, a couple of years before he died, he left. But his music never changes. It's either bubbly and optimistic or a little bit romantic, you know, like he has these beautiful pieces he named after his two little baby girls. It's called Two Little Pearls, and he loved the cello. He had a love affair with the cello. He fell in love with the instrument. He named his son Cello Pettiford, was his second son, and then named his two daughters Celeste and Celina. So, you know, he was kind of a guy, like musicians used to have to watch out for him because he'd get into fights, he had difficulties on the road, but he had a real soft spot in his heart, and I think that's where the cello came in. I hooked up with John over 20 years ago at the 40th birthday celebration at the old knitting factory. He brought me in to play some of what he calls his games pieces, and I played hockey, and that was the first time I met him, and we've been collaborating and working together since then, and it's just been a growing, you know, collaboration. I mean, he works with what you bring to the table. You know, and it's been great. He's just, you know, I was around when the Masada first was born, and then I was there in the studio when some of these other new projects that were spin-offs from Masada, the Bar Kokba, the Masada String Trio, and we came up with all those things on the fly in the recording studio, and so it's been a really exciting 20 years for me working with John, and it's just great, you know. With last year, his 60th birthday, we traveled all over the place, went to Australia, and it's nice to be doing it here in Newport, so it'll be fun to do this crazy kind of band quick change, speed dating with the Masada bands. Definitely. This year, John has also booked a week at the Village Vanguard, so I feel like it's just kind of like the heavyweights of the old venues, or the big names, or kind of, it's just a nice, blessed year to be kind of performing at these places, so it's going to be great. Hey, this is Erik Friedlander. For more videos, check out JazzTimes.com.